So today we're going to talk about how to track marketing return on investment for lawyers. So the first thing that I want to stress before we even get started is I want you to make sure that you choose marketing strategies that are actually measurable. So I know a lot of lawyers and attorneys will choose traditional marketing for their advertising. So that means it could be TV ads, the radio, it could be magazine or newspaper ads. These are okay and they're effective, but it's very difficult to track them unless you are smart about it. So if you can, the publishing companies may give you how many impressions, for example, that you might have on a TV advertisement, or how many listeners are on the radio. That won't tell you how many customers you actually got from each campaign. So you want to make sure that if you are engaging in these traditional advertising channels, you want to make sure that your call to action is a trackable phone number that you know is only attached to that campaign. So if you get a call in from that phone number, it means that they came from that specific ad. Or you want to create specific landing pages for each of your campaigns so that all of your traffic that came into that specific landing page is from that campaign. Okay, so there are ways that you can set it up, or you can choose strategies like digital marketing. So email marketing, for example, you know everybody who clicked on that email, you know everybody who opened it, and you can use promo codes or something so that you know that if a customer converted, it actually came from that campaign. Your website is another channel where you can track it. So detailed, the tracking on your website from Google Analytics, Google Search Console. It's very easy to track almost anything on your website. So make sure you're using that as a lead generating tool. And same with social media. Social media is very trackable. You know who is engaging with your posts, who followed you, who liked your information that you're posting. So make sure you're choosing strategies that are measurable. So an overview of the talk, we will talk about what is ROI and why is it important. We'll talk about what KPIs are and which KPIs you should be tracking for general marketing, for your email marketing campaigns, your website, and your social media. We will learn what platforms you can use to find these key performance indicators, and we'll also go over some example scenarios to calculate ROI for specific campaigns. So next, I want to talk about revenue streams. So I know that there's a lot of different types of attorneys out there, and you probably invoice your customers differently as well. So for example, you might be an immigration lawyer or a real estate attorney where they're more of a flat or fixed fee, or you have retainers for your revenue streams, or you may even offer payment plans. So there's all different methods of collecting payments from your customers, and you'll get to why we're talking about this later in the conversation. But just know that marketing is different for all of them, okay? So you have to make sure you're tracking each of your campaigns differently, or tracking them in the same ways, but treat them as they are different campaigns, because some are going to be more effective than others. So what is ROI? We all know that ROI is return on investment, and that's fine. And you can find this formula if you Google it, super easy. It's your revenue that you brought in from a campaign minus the investment you put out, divided by the investment multiplied by 100, and that's a percentage, okay? But there's a difference between front end return on investment and total return on investment. So front end is, let's say you have a customer and they are paying you over 6 months monthly, okay? Your front end return on investment is going to be that single transaction that comes in the first time. Total return on investment is your actual customer lifetime value, okay? So if they paid you 6 times over the next 6 months, that's actually your true ROI from a specific campaign. And a lot of companies will be mistaken with this because they are only using that initial transaction to determine whether a campaign was effective or not. But you got to take into account their total lifetime value. Okay, so remember, total return on investment is more important than the front end. Now, what are KPIs? Most of us already know that KPIs are key performance indicators. It's a way of you measuring your marketing campaigns in numbers. So you know that if you are reporting on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on a quarterly basis, that you are either declining in your progress or you are improving in your progress. So make sure that throughout this presentation, if you can think of KPIs that you can apply to your business that is more specific to actually what you are doing, not necessarily the general ones that I'm giving you. You want to be measuring those as well. But if there's something else you want to be tracking, keep that in mind as well throughout this presentation. So let's go ahead and do the first poll. Jordan is going to send you out a poll question. And if you can just quickly answer the question, that would be great. And Jordan, let me know because I can't see the screen right now.
Yep, I just sent it out.
Awesome. And Jordan, if you don't mind, mute when you're not speaking, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk about some general key performance indicators that you should be tracking, and then we'll also go over how you can actually keep track of them on a spreadsheet. So some general marketing KPIs I want you all to be aware of. The first one is conversion rates. And now a conversion rate can be almost anything in our world, but from a marketing perspective, a conversion rate is usually a lead to a customer expressed in a percentage. So for example, if you have 100 new customers that came in new leads that came in from a campaign, and you got one new customer out of those 100, you have a 1% conversion rate. So it's just dividing your new customers by your leads in that campaign, and that's going to give you your percentage. So conversion rates are very important because you're going to know which campaigns you get the highest conversion rates from when you're actually keeping track of this data. The next thing is your average revenue per transaction. So if you don't know what this is, you can either go in your accounting software, like QuickBooks or something similar that you might use. You can call up your accountant or your bookkeeper. They will have this number for you. But it's pretty much over time what your average revenue was for every single transaction that you've made, okay? And so once you have that number, that dollar amount is very important because then you want to know what your average customer lifetime is. And this can be in years or months or weeks. Probably for lawyers, you're thinking probably months, but it depends what type of lawyer you are, obviously. But in those years or months or weeks, how many transactions do your customers actually make? Okay. So when you know how many transactions they make on average, you can multiply that by your average revenue per transaction, and you're going to get your customer lifetime value from this. This is a very important number because this is going to help you with your total return on investment, not just that front end. Okay. The next thing I want you to keep track of is your cost per lead and your cost per acquisition. All this is you take your campaign cost, you divide it by how many leads you generated, and that's your cost per lead. And you do the same thing for your cost per acquisition. This is how much did it cost for you to pay for that customer. Okay, so your campaign cost divided by how many new customers you actually generated is your cost per acquisition in a dollar amount. So now what I want you to do is find a spreadsheet so you can keep track of this. So whether it's Microsoft Excel or I'm using Google Sheets that you can see here, the screenshot, very simple for you to keep track of it. You want to make sure on the left side, you have all the metrics you are interested in keeping track of. Along the top, you have your quarters, you have your months under your quarters, and then you have your goals and your actuals for each month. Okay. So along the bottom, you have your general marketing metrics that you're keeping track of from all of your campaigns inputted there. Then you have all your specific campaigns. So you'll have email marketing, you'll have your social media platforms, you'll have your website on the tabs along the bottom. They are set up exactly like this. You'll see them throughout this presentation. If you do not want to reinvent the wheel and create this yourself, if you email me after this webinar, I will send you the template for this for Google Sheets, and then you will be able to have this. You can put in your own customized metrics on the side if some of mine don't fit for your business, and you can go from there. So then you can relax and you don't have to be, clicking pictures. We will send you the slides later and the recording to this as well. So we're going to move on to email marketing. We're going to do the next poll at this point. So Jordan, just unmute and let me know when you're ready.
Okay, just sent it out.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So we're going to go over email marketing now. So we'll talk about some key performance indicators that you should be tracking for email marketing. We'll talk about how you should keep track of this on your spreadsheet. And then we'll talk about an example scenario for return on investment. So today, most or if not all email marketing platforms have a reporting and analytics section. Okay, so right now you are looking at Constant Contact, and this is the reporting and analytics section just for a specific email. Okay, you want to make sure that you are tracking your open rates and your click rates, very important for your email marketing campaigns. You also want to track your unsubscribes, your spam reports, and your bounces, okay? So for your unsubscribed, spam reports, and your bounces, you want that number to be as close to 0 as possible. For your open rates and your click rates, you want these to be as close to 100 as possible. You want them very high. When you have an open rate that is low, it means that you need to improve your subject lines for your emails. You need to hook people in better and encourage them to open your emails. So practice really great subject lines. If your click rates are low, it means that the content within your emails was not engaging enough for somebody to want to learn more, or you are not giving them call to actions throughout your emails. Okay. So a high click rate and a low click rate, a high open rate and a low click rate means your subject line was great. You entice them to open it, but the content inside your emails were not good enough for them to move forward. I would encourage you always to link to a specific landing page on your website. If you have, for a call to action, you might have a blog that you're giving a little snippet of in your email that links over to your blog on your website so that they can read the full thing. You might be talking about your services, so you can then link them over to your services page. Never, ever send them to your homepage because you will lose them. You want to make sure you're sending them down that funnel and giving them a customer journey where at the end, they do exactly what you want them to do. And that's whatever call to action you're asking them to do, okay? So again, open rates and click rates, track those and make sure they're high as possible. And your bounces, unsubscribe, and spam reports, make sure they're as low as possible. So then I want you to open up your marketing metrics spreadsheet. I want you to click on the email marketing tab at the bottom. You can put your metrics in on the left-hand side. If there's any customized ones you want to be tracking that I don't have here, and make sure you are keeping track of your goals and your actuals for each month. So let's go over an example return on investment for an email marketing campaign. Let's say you are an immigration lawyer, okay, and you are giving out a citizenship special for $3,000. Now, you guys might be laughing at me because this is too little or too high or whatever, probably too little. But, let's just say $3,000, but you are accepting payments over 6 months for this, okay, for this service. So that means that they're spending $500 a month for the next 6 months, okay? From this email marketing promo, you spent $1,000 for 500 contacts, okay? And you spend $40 a month for your email platform. Let's just say Constant Contact or MailChimp or whichever platform you're using. on average for an email marketing platform, you're spending about $40 a month for a small business. Okay. It could, give or take, but that's on average. So, so your total cost for this campaign was $1,040. And that is taking into consideration 1 month of you spending on the email marketing platform. Of course, you're email marketing more than that, but I wanted to just pull out a month from that cost. From this email marketing campaign, you acquired 2 new customers, and you knew this because they had a promo code that they, referred to once they came in as a new customer. Or you ask them, you can even ask them, how did you find this promotion? They're going to say email. So your conversion rates for that is 0.4% conversion rates, because 2 people divided by 500 contacts is 0.4%. Okay. So your upfront revenue generated from the campaign was $1,000 because you got 2 new customers and their initial payment was $500, right? So your front end ROI for this campaign is $1,000 in revenue minus the cost of the campaign, which is $1,040, which equals a minus $40 in return. Now, most of you are like, this did not work. This was bad. So is this a bust? The answer actually is no, it's not a bust. And why? Because they are giving you 6 months of payments at $500 each. So you're not considering their lifetime value. So if they're making $500 payments for 6 months, their lifetime value of each of those customers are actually $3,000 each. So now it makes your math look a little better, right? So your revenue generated from the campaign is now actually $6,000. If you subtract the cost of your campaign at $1,040, you're looking at a $4,960 return, or a 477% return on investment percentage. Okay, so now it looks a little more real because you're taking into consideration the customer's lifetime value. Now, your cost per acquisition and your budgeting. So for this email marketing campaign, the cost for you to acquire 1 customer was $520. And that's because you divided the cost of the campaign, $1,040, by 2 new customers that you acquired. And that gives you that $520 mark, okay? If you know your customer lifetime value is $3,000, you are profiting $2,480 by each of those customers, which is an 83% profit. That's pretty awesome. So make sure you are understanding your margins and how much your cost per acquisition can be. If you know that your customer lifetime value is $3,000, how much are you willing to spend for each customer to pay you $3,000? And there is no right answer to this. This is all about how you feel about your business and what your margins should be at. But you might say, hey, I'm willing to spend $1,000 on each customer. So that gives you an idea for your budget in the future. Okay, we're going to go on to the next poll question, and then we'll talk about the website. So Jordan, let me know when you're done with that.
Okay, I sent it out.
Awesome. All right, so we will talk about what key performance indicators you want to be tracking for your website. We'll talk about how you should be keeping track of it on your spreadsheet, and then we'll talk about an example scenario. All right, so the first thing I want to stress is if you do not have Google Analytics 4 on your website tracking it right now, please make sure you do so immediately or as quickly as you can. Most of you probably have Google Analytics, the universal Google Analytics, which was the previous version of Google Analytics 4. They are moving this year to Google Analytics 4, and they are not taking over any history from universal Google Analytics. So I want you to make sure as soon as possible, talk to your web developer or whoever deals with your website, might even be you, and make sure you get that Google Analytics 4 coding on your website so that you can start tracking it with the newest version. So once you have that on your website, you can start tracking things like unique visitors. Unique visitors means that if I come on your website 10 times in a month, I'm only going to be tracked once. So you want to know how many different people are coming on your website on a monthly basis or a weekly basis or even a daily basis. Depends how much you want to be tracking this. The next thing is pages per visit, okay? Pages per visit is very important because it indicates to Google if you have good quality information on your website that your visitors are interested in. If people are landing on your site and they're only viewing one page and then leaving, it means you probably either don't have links to other pages in your site or you don't have good quality information that they're actually interested in. So that then moves to average engagement time on your website. You want this to be minutes, not seconds, because you want people to be hanging out on your site. You want them to be learning, to be reading what you have there. Maybe you have videos on your site. You want them to spend time there because the more, and remember, the more pages that they visit on your site with good quality information, the longer engagement time they're going to spend on your content. So you will then be ranked higher because Google likes it when you are delivering good quality content to the people that are looking up information with queries that have to do with your industry. So the higher your pages per visit and the higher your average engagement time, the higher you're going to be ranking on Google. The next thing you can set up on Google Analytics is conversions. Now you have to set this up yourself. Google doesn't know what a conversion is to you. So you have to tell Google what a conversion is. A conversion is really anything, any action you want your visitors to take. So that could mean filling out your contact us form. That could mean clicking on a phone number to call you for a consultation. That could mean maybe downloading a piece of gated content. Gated means you ask them for contact information in order for them to receive the content that they are looking for. It might be signing up for a webinar. It could be subscribing to a newsletter. Any action you want that visitor to take, you can set up as a conversion in Google Analytics. Then you can start tracking this over time and see if that increases. And you can also do A/B testing, and you can, try different pop-ups on your site, different banners, different form fills. Then you want to be tracking how many keywords you're ranking for. You can head on over to neilpatel.com or ubersuggest.com in that yellow or orange box. And you can find a free SEO tool. You can, of course, pay money as well monthly in order to get more capabilities for it. But all you would need to find how many keywords you're ranking for is the free version. This is going to tell you, where you're ranking on Google, how many keywords that are, they might not even be relevant, but they're going to give you a list of keywords that you are actually ranking for. And then you can manipulate your content so that you're ranking for the right keywords that you want people to be finding. So it's really good to understand that list. Obviously, the more keywords you're ranking for, the better on Google, right? The next thing are impressions and clicks. You need to make sure Google Search Console has access to your domain hosting. That then when you give Google Search Console permission to do that, then you can start seeing different types of information that you can't see on the other two tracking platforms, like impressions and clicks. So impressions are if somebody puts a search query in Google, how many times did your website pop up for that search query? Clicks are of those impressions, how many people actually clicked through to your website, okay? So obviously you want the more impressions, the more chances people are going to click, and you want this to increase over time. All right, so these are just general basic KPIs I want everybody to be tracking, no matter what type of lawyer you are or no matter what type of industry you're in. So let's move on over to the metric spreadsheet. You are going to click on the website tab at the bottom. You're going to add any customized metrics that we didn't talk about, and then you're going to make sure that you're filling this out throughout the year. Now let's go over an example return on investment for your website. So let's say this year you're redesigning or building your website for the first time. Okay, you spent $3,000 to build this website. And the reason why I'm giving that number is because our basic website for a 6-page website, and most lawyers only need a basic website. They don't need anything crazy and elaborate. maybe just a blog on there, a section for your services, a contact us page, a nice home page, some call to actions all over. So that cost for our agency, we charge $3,000 to build something like that. So it's realistic. You spend $20 a month for hosting. You have to spend, everybody who has a website that's public has to spend a monthly fee for hosting. And then you wanted a pop-up on your site. So you spend $5 a month for your pop-up. So in total, this website costs you in a year $3,300. But keep in mind that next year, you're not going to be paying that initial $3,000 to build it. It's just going to be those maintenance costs. So it's going to be much lower, but we're going to base this on this year, you're spending that $3,000. So that's going to be part of the total costs. Now, the benefits of this website is that your contact us form brought in the last year, 50 different people that filled out the form. Your pop-up banner brought you in 200 new contacts, and your gated content brought you in 250 new contacts. Remember, gated content is if you were giving somebody access to content, it could be a PDF download, maybe watching a video, you're asking them to give you their email and their name or something in order, in exchange for you giving them access to that content. So in total, you brought in 500 new contacts from your website in a year, okay? So from these 500 new contacts, you obtained 5 new clients. And remember, we're going to take the first example for the immigration lawyer. The customer lifetime value is $3,000. They're paying $500 a month for 6 months. And you got 5 new customers. So that's a $15,000 in revenue that you brought in from your website in this year, okay? So your cost for acquisition, because for the total year you spent $3,300, you divide that by how many customers you obtained from the campaign or from the website, and you're at a $660 cost per acquisition, okay? And for your return on investment, you're looking at the revenue you generated from this was $15,000. You subtract your total cost of the campaign, and you're at $11,700 in profit, bringing you a 354% return on investment. All right. Hoping everyone is still following. If not, please say something in the chat and I can go slower. So I'll move on. So remember your cost for acquisition, which was $660 for you to obtain each of those new customers from the campaign. Your customer lifetime value is $3,000, which brings you a profit of $2,340 at a 78% margin. Again, that's pretty awesome. And so make sure you are understanding your margins and how much you are willing to spend on your cost per acquisition in order to obtain a customer that brings you in that total customer lifetime value. All right, so for social media, for the initial KPIs that I want you guys to track, we're going to talk more about social media organic posting. Okay, so organic posting is a validation tool. It's not really a lead generating tool. It's if you have 2 companies, A and B, and one of them posts every day on social media, great quality content, and the other one doesn't post at all, or they're not present on social media, or maybe they post once a month, who are you going to choose? That makes it a validation tool, right? So you are proving to them that you're experts in your industry and you know your stuff by the content that you're providing to your visitors or your viewers. So we're going to talk about, most people do the organic posting. So we'll talk about that to keep track of. But for the example scenario, since it's a return on investment thing, you need to measure more of those lead generating activities. So we're going to talk about paid ads later in the example scenario. All right. Okay, so for the sake of this webinar, we're going to just talk about LinkedIn. I'm not going to go over every single social media platform, but most of them are very similar in that they all have an analytics and reporting section, and pretty much you should be tracking similar things on each platform. So on LinkedIn, if you land on your business page, you will see on the left-hand side an analytics bar that will tell you a lot of these metrics that we're going to be tracking. You can set it to the last 30 days of activity. You can set it to the last 7 days. It's whatever you want. And if you want to dive deeper, you select the analytics section of that bar across the top, the menu items across the top. So one of the KPIs I want you to track are search appearances, okay? Search appearances are when somebody goes in the search box of LinkedIn and they type in a keyword and your business pops up, your business page. So that's how many times you landed in the search appearance, okay? For unique visitors, it's very much like the website. It's how many people actually click through to land on your business page, on your LinkedIn profile. New followers is very straightforward. Post impressions is how many times your post came up in somebody else's feed. Custom button clicks, you can link to your website or other external links, and it's how many people actually clicked on those links on your page. And then likes and shares, most of you know exactly what that is. So it's very good to keep track of all this stuff. Obviously, you want to be improving over time and set goals for yourself. So make sure you head on over to your spreadsheet click on your social media tab. If you have more than one social media platform that you are currently promoting yourself on, make sure that you create tabs for each one of your platforms. Okay. And then make sure you add in your customized metrics, whatever I didn't cover. If there's something you want to be tracking, add that to the left-hand side. And now we will go over an example return on investment scenario for social media ads. Okay. So we're changing over to ads now, not the posting. So you are creating an ad. Let's say it's again for the immigration law lawyer for citizenship papers, the same type of deal that we were talking about before. You spent $1,000 on paid ads. You spent $500 for your ad creation and $500 for ad management. Okay. So the total cost of this campaign was $2,000 for you. But the benefits of this campaign is that you got 10,000 impressions for the ads. From the impressions, 500 people clicked on your ads. And from those 500, you got 5 new clients. Okay. Your cost per click is $2. If you, and that's the way you pay for ads, you pay per click. So if you multiply $2 by how many clicks you got, you're looking at your $1,000 in your ad spend. Okay. You have a 1% conversion rate because of the 500 clicks, you obtained 5 new clients. So that gives you 1% conversion rate. And remember your customer lifetime value, which is $3,000. If you multiply that by 5 new customers, you're looking at $15,000 of revenue generated from these social media ads. Okay. So your cost per acquisition for this is going to be $400 because you divide the total cost of your campaign by how many new customers you obtained, which gives you a $400 each per acquisition of each customer. For your ROI, you're looking at $15,000 of revenue generated minus the total cost of your campaign, which equals $13,000 in profit, bringing you a 650% return on investment. Okay. Now we're going to remind you of making sure you're thinking for the future when you're budgeting. If your cost per acquisition is $400 per customer, and you're looking at a $3,000 customer lifetime value, that brings you a $2,600 profit and an 86% profit margin, which is really awesome. And remember, these are example scenarios. They're not real life scenarios. So it could vary. It could be better or worse. But you always have to try for yourself to see if these things are actually working. But again, make sure you are understanding this cost per acquisition so you know what you're willing to spend on each customer. So if you can take away 2 of the most important things that we talked about today, it's that your cost per acquisition, first of all, make sure that you are calculating the cost per acquisition. Make sure that is as low as possible and make sure your total ROI is as high as possible. So when you look at these 3 campaigns that we talked about today, your email marketing brought you in a 477% return on investment with a $520 cost per acquisition. Your website generated leads that brought in 354% total ROI and a $660 cost per acquisition. and your social media ads brought you a 650% total ROI and a $400 cost per acquisition. So it's probably very obvious, but which one do you think did the best? I'm assuming everybody is going to choose the social media ads, right? Because it was the lowest cost per acquisition and the highest total ROI. All right. Now, that is not to say that you stop doing email marketing and you stop your website and you only do social media ads. What this does say is that you are successful with your social media ads. You are also successful in the other campaigns, but sometimes your social ads aren't going to touch people who are opening their emails or on your website. Sometimes people on your website don't have social media accounts, so they're not going to see those ads. So you're just dipping into different pools. So don't think that all your eggs should be in one basket if it's a better return necessarily, as long as they're all healthy returns. And these numbers are all very healthy returns. Okay. So the moral of the story is that marketing actually works. Yes, for lawyers too, marketing works. Track your campaigns with key performance indicators. Anytime that you can figure out what KPIs that you can be tracking, write them down and track them over time. This is going to help you calculate your return on investment whenever you can, so that you can plan for the future for your marketing strategies. And then always consider the customer lifetime value, because that front end, that first transaction they made, is not indicative usually of their total revenue that they're spending with you. Okay. So always consider customer lifetime value. Make sure you email me for the template. I will, on the next slide, you will see my email address, so you can email me. We will be sending you the recording of this. And we are offering 25% off the first month of services if you need help with your marketing. We do anything from social media maintenance and Google business page. We do blogging, we do videos, we do email marketing, and that's about it. So if we're going to open it up to questions right now, there's my email on the screen. And Jordan, if you can let me know which questions we have, we'll go from there.
What is the most popular service that you offer?
Very good question. So right now it changes. I feel like every year it changes. Right now it is in between social media and blogging. I think people know that you need to be on social media these days. It's free. It's obviously not free when you are hiring a service, but you're not paying for ad space. Like, social media is free ad space, and you can post as much or as little as you want. So social media is very, very probably our most popular service right now, but blogging is up and coming as well. And this is because people know that you need content on your website. Google doesn't like a stagnant website that sits there and collects dust and you don't change it. You need to be changing it weekly or daily, okay? And one way to do that is to create a blog section on your website that will provide good quality content for your viewers. And it also shows that you are thought leaders in your industry. Okay. Videos are awesome too. We also do a lot of affordable videos. And those are also very, very popular at Clairant. So let us know if you need any help with any of those. Awesome. If you guys need anything, make sure that you email me for the template if you need it. Otherwise, create your own template. Make sure you are tracking your campaigns. Remember, do not boil the ocean, okay? You don't have to be on every single social media platform. You don't have to be marketing on every single channel, but test a few. Make sure you're doing it long enough, 3 to 6 months, to see if it actually works, and always be optimizing. If you're not optimizing, then you're probably not getting the most out of each of your campaigns. And just make sure you are following through and tracking everything that is possibly trackable. All right. And contact me at dhaluk@clairantservices.com anytime. And I hope you have a great day. And thank you so much for joining us for the last hour.